Aquarius 22, a rug placed on the floor for children to play. Children can play on the floor without a rug. Why would we give them a rug? Just to make it more comfortable for them. And most people would do that. Everyone I know would do that. They would try and soften the hardness of life, especially for children. But actually, we kind of do that anyway to each other. Humanity is very kind as a species. Life is actually very kind. Unless you don't see it that way. If you see people as potentially unkind and life as harsh, then yeah, you'll get that. That's because you've honed your perception to look for the hardness in life. Then you'll get the hardness. That's how it works. But why would you? Why would you want to do that? Life is kind, so allow it to be kind and enact the kindness that you feel by just laying down a bit of softness for children and for others, and it goes around. Then you'll be treated kindly if you're kind to people, and we can extend that further. It's not only physical comforts, like you have enough food, you have soft furnishings, you have enough warmth. It's not only that. It goes to the next level. It's whatever you feel like doing, whatever feelings you want to experience, they're there as well. They're available as well, provided you don't expect to be disappointed. If you insist that life is a disappointment, then that insistence will bring you what you've insisted upon. So, if we behave as though we can expect our reasonable desires to be met, and we behave in that expectation, then they are met. If there's any inner ambiguity that you have, so that even though you think you expect to be treated kindly, really there's a part of you that doesn't think that way, then those ambiguities will present themselves in the outer world. And you can see that there's a correction needed in terms of your own self-image. If you find that life is treating you harshly, then it's because you're treating yourself harshly. You have a belief that you need to be punished or prevented or disappointed, and that belief was given to you at an early age, almost certainly, almost always, by your parent. And until you've actually uncovered that is the case, that you do have that harshness, that's the first thing. Secondly, that the parent dealt you that hand, that's the second one. You have to come to terms with the fact that your parents, whom you love, possibly, probably, they're not perfect. They've done something to you which is really quite harmful or hurtful. It's not actually harmful. And then the third understanding here is, why did you set that up? They didn't do that to you. You set that up before incarnation so that they would give you something to work with. Why did you do that? For what purpose? So, if you find yourself to be unkindly treated, that's how you deal with that one. However, another way of dealing with it is just affirming that you are expecting to be treated kindly. And if you're not being treated kindly, then if you can raise your game and just forgive that person, don't go there, don't blame them, don't try and understand what's going on for them, not your business. Just forgiveness. Forgiveness is a tremendous power. It's taught rather badly, as if it was a moral principle or a Christian teaching. That's not the point. Perhaps it's that, I don't care. The point is that it's an enormous power. The power of forgiveness that makes it really clear to the universe, to life itself, to everyone that you know. That makes it really clear that you're not a victim. If you forgive everyone everything they do, it's because you can. You're big enough to do that. You're just not subject to their treatment of you. It doesn't touch you. And that affirms very clearly to everything in your life, including your own self-image. It affirms that you're just not a victim. You're on top of it all. You're bigger than everything that happens to you. And that affirmation is incredibly empowering. That will protect you from everything. I mean, that level of clarity and faith and heart-centered belief that you're creating your own experience. That's how it must be if you want a life of kindness and nothing else. It has to be that way. One of the reversals of perception that needs to occur is that desire is good. We're taught very often that if we want what we want and we grasp it, we're being selfish and self-indulgent. But we have to turn that around to know that self-indulgence, in a sense, is a spiritual principle. So is service, so is kindness, but self-fulfillment, really, we could call it, better than self-indulgence. Self-fulfillment is really what's occurring here. That the desire nature we have, which is very powerful indeed, hard to think of anything more powerful than our desire nature. We have to know that that's a spiritual principle, that that's the soul's voice speaking through us. Whatever gives us that sense of excitement and enthusiasm that goes along with desire, these are the qualities of the soul. The desire nature is good and right. And whatever we desire, life is kind enough to respond to that desire. That affirmation brings us into a life of one fulfillment after another. And the only thing then that limits our life joy is our imagination. When we have the faith to understand this teaching, then imagination is the only limitation. And that also is programmed into us, the scope of our imagination. You know, we can have whatever we can realistically imagine. In other words, imagination has to be somewhat in alignment with our sense of reality, or it's just silly. We just can't believe in it, actually. But if you can imagine something which is reasonable in a common sense way, yeah, why not? Why not me? Why could I not have that? Why could I not do that? Why not me? If it's like that, then yeah, it's for you to have. If you can imagine it as reasonable and you have faith that you find your desire nature sacred, a soul expression, then life is kind. And so you treat children playing on the floor kindly and you give them something nice to play with, carpet.